Hello number ones, welcome back to my channel. This is the Metatron speaking, and as always this is an oasis for truth, facts, logics, reason, and the way we achieve that is by debunking absolute, complete, utter nonsense. For example, I don't know if you noticed this, but if there is one word that has become absolutely ubiquitous in a lot of academic circles and universities is the word white supremacy. It's become the mantra of so many professors and academics that in our day and age, it seems like you can't escape any class that even modically dips its toes into history, social sciences, crime analysis, literally human rights. You will hear it all over the place. Now, is white supremacy a problem? Yes. Are they talking about it in university circles, fitting it into literally everything, including ancient Rome, ancient Greece, every ancient culture? Whenever there is a problem, it's white supremacy. Is it because it's relevant and pertinent? No. It's because they're pushing a political message, and unfortunately these circles have now become a breeding ground for mental indoctrination. So what is white supremacy? Well, we're told that white supremacy is the belief that white people are superior to those of other races. Please keep this definition in mind as we proceed to the next tab. White supremacy is the root of race-related violence. Okay? Up to this point, you would think, well, maybe if there is a white guy and he thinks he's superior and he's being violent towards non-white people, that could be okay. Wait. Washington Times, white supremacy causes black citizens to commit anti-Asian racism. I'm sorry, what? DePaul University, anti-Asian racism, Black Lives Matter and COVID-19, racism and white supremacy are not exactly the same thing, though in the US they act in mutually beneficial ways. Brookings, why the trope of black-Asian conflict in the face of anti-blah blah blah, UW homepage, how white supremacy racist myth fuel anti-Asian violence. The University of British Columbia, the white elephant in the room, anti-Asian racism in Canada. Dr. Henry Yu explains how blindness to white supremacy perpetuates anti-Asian racism in Canada. And the list goes on. There are probably, I don't even know how many pages, I don't want to know. But you will have noticed that a lot of these are from several universities. This is a coordinated, systemic, since they do like that word very much, effort to connect white supremacy to literally everything. Your phone doesn't turn on? It's white supremacy. Your hair tie broke? It is white supremacy. The one that I really want to focus on today, however, is from the University of Colorado Boulder. We are on the official website, Colorado Arts and Science magazine. White supremacy is the root of race-related violence in the United States. Check this out because we need to call this out. Please share this video. Please, let's do our part. This needs to be called out. And who else is doing it? At least in the history section of YouTube. No one. In the gaming, in the political sphere, sure. But in history, they're all afraid. Please share, comment, and like. Amid the disturbing rise in attacks on Asian Americans since March 2020 is a troubling category of these assaults. Black people are also attacking Asian Americans. Why is this particularly troubling? I would say anyone, any human being attacking an Asian American, whatever. White people are the main perpetrator of anti-Asian racism. We'll have to look at the data statistics of that. But in February 2021, a black person pushed an elderly Asian man to the ground in San Francisco. The man later died from his injuries. That is absolutely horrible and despicable. I hope this person, I don't care that the person is black in question, I hope this violent individual goes to jail, in prison, for a very long time. In another video from New York City on March 29, 2021, a black person pushed and beats an Asian American woman on the sidewalk in front of a doorway while onlookers observed the attack, then closed their door on the woman without intervening or providing aid. What does this have to do with white supremacy? As the current president of the Association for Asian American Studies, so this is a person in power, this is a person of authority. As the current president of the Association of Asian American Studies and as an ethnic studies and critical race studies professor who specializes in Asian American culture, I wanted to address the climate of anti-Asian racism I was seeing at the start of the pandemic. So, you would think, right, if this was an honest person, you would think that if this is an honest person, they would focus on the victims, perhaps do some pattern analysis in here, tell us to focus on the criminals, and then suggest some solutions from the height of their understanding and expertise. No, As the super ultra professor expert that I am, she says, so in April 2020, I created a PowerPoint slide deck about anti-Asian racism that my employer, the University of Colorado Boulder, turned into a website. Oh, they loved it. That led to approximately 50 interviews, workshops, talks, and panel presentations. What a waste of time and resources and taxpayer money that I have done on anti-Asian racism, specifically in the time of COVID-19. Great. The point I've made through all of those experiences, guys, get ready, this is going to be a confession, is that anti-Asian racism has the same source as anti-black racism: white supremacy. 50 interviews, workshop talks, panel presentations. Unbelievable. Can we? So why is it white supremacy? Let's see. So when a black person attacks an Asian person, the encounter is fueled perhaps by racism. Oh yeah, perhaps. They just murdered someone. Perhaps. Maybe, we don't know, maybe it wasn't racism, maybe he didn't like how he looked at him. Oh my gosh. Perhaps by racism, but very specifically by white supremacy. White supremacy does not require a white person to perpetuate it. Definition, where is it? White supremacy is the belief that white people are superior to those other races. Can you explain to me, professor, how a black man pushing an Asian elderly man to his death is because this black person believes that white people are the superior race? They don't even know what they're saying anymore. They change everything. They twist everything to a point that words make no sense. Let's continue. I'm here. I've got all night. While this may be true, although then again, we would have to go into the specifics of it. Like, I mean, if you are, I guess, Hispanic, but you're very light-skinned and you really, really, really love white people, but still, how can it, I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna, maybe there is someone like that somewhere, but I just can't see a black person murdering an Asian person because they freaking love white people so much. Absolutely. It's not just white people. White supremacy is an ideology, a pattern of values and beliefs that are ingrained in nearly every system and institution in the US. It is a belief that to be white is to be human. What? And invested with inalienable and universal rights that to be not white means you are less than a human, a disposable object for others to abuse and misuse. Look, if there are people that believe this, then they are pieces of garbage. Yes, we are all humans. Every human life is valuable. Great. One, you're putting this white supremacy onto everything and everyone, so now, just because you say it, it doesn't mean that I believe it. Two, still doesn't mean anything when it comes to a black person. It's a black person, in this case, who is racist and doesn't like Asian people. You can have an Asian person who's racist and doesn't like black people. You can have a white person who's racist and doesn't like either of them. And you can have, of course, a black person who doesn't like white person, and it's still racism, although they're gonna deny it because they are anti-white scum. Let's continue. The dehumanization of Asian people by US society is driven by white supremacy and not by any black person who may or may not hate Asians. During the pandemic, this rhetoric that blamed China for COVID-19, okay, 100% rise in anti-Asian harassment incidents, great. So it has nothing to do with white supremacy. It has everything to do with a misunderstanding, or maybe should we say a frustration that basically allowed people to take their frustration onto innocence just because they were Chinese. Or maybe they weren't Chinese, but they thought they were Chinese because they can't even tell them apart if they're Korean. And so maybe that's what it is, but it has nothing to do. In particular, East Asian Americans or anyone who appeared to be East Asian, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, Thai, Filipino, and all of that. Okay, fear of disease, great. So, understanding the depth and reach of this ideology of racism can be challenging. It can be very challenging, Professor. You're absolutely right. In fact, I would say nearly impossible if you are in charge. Because it's impossible to understand something when the facts are twisted to an unrecognizable mesh. That's the reality. That's the reality. If you appreciate my content so far and wish to help ensure my ability to continue to tell it how it is, regardless of any possible backlash, please support this channel on Patreon. Any support helps me and my team of academics keep the channel strong and gives us the means to fight back against the political rewriting of history. Stand with us, form the wall, defend the truth. The reality is, let me tell you what happened here before we continue. Let me tell you what happened. What happened here is that this is an ideologue. It's a activist. It's a person that has received a position of authority and it's misusing that position in order to push their ideas, politics, messages, and social control in a dishonest way. But the problem is that because all they do is white people bad, white supremacy, then when they actually see that there are facts that they couldn't hide, where, oh, damn it, it's a black person who now is being racist towards an Asian person, or maybe it's a black person who's being, again, I have nothing against black people, obviously. I only have a problem with these people. Oh, wait, it's a black person and committing violence on white people. That's a problem, because now it demonstrates that racism is present everywhere. Everyone can be racist towards anyone. But that doesn't work. It destroys their entire ideology. In their ideology, the oppressor is the white man, and the oppressed are anyone who is not white. And therefore, when this happens, it's a bug in their system. It breaks everything. So they found a loop. When they say, well, the problem is white supremacy, it doesn't matter if who is doing it. It's still white supremacy, and therefore, it's still white people. It's dishonest, it's false, and we all know what they're doing. But unfortunately, I think we all know it, and it's just that some people will let it slide. They'll say, it doesn't matter, it's fine, it's okay, because it's not really racist if it's not systemic. And then you hear people, no. All forms of derogatory, racist sentiment should be called out the same way. So if a black person is racist towards an Asian or a white person, it needs to be called out, not excused by either definitional loop, it's not technically racism because it's not systemic, which is nonsense, or by this, which is a socially engineered loop. You know I'm right. And if you truly are anti-racist, you should side with me, whether you be centrist, right-wing, or left-wing at this point. Are you truly anti-racist? You should side with me against this. More racism is not the answer to racism, or redirected racism is not the answer nor solution to racism. Understanding the depth and reach of this ideology of racism can be challenging, yeah, I agree, but doing so brings each person and the nation as a whole closer to addressing systemic inequity. It's not black people whom Asian Americans need to fear. It's white supremacy. Tell the man who died of his injuries here that, well, sir, you didn't need to Who is this person? Here she is. Boom. There you go. Once again, no harassment, please. But yeah, the daughter of a refugee father from China and an immigrant mother from Jamaica, whose parents themselves were immigrants from Hong Kong, Jennifer Ho is the director of the Center for Humanities and the Arts at the University of Colorado Boulder, where she specializes in Asian American critical race theory. Okay, so what did she write? Books? I can already look at that. That look is exactly what you get if you're white, by the way. That look, exactly that. The Tavis Smiley Show, Dr. Jennifer Ho on Assimilating American Culture of Gun Violence, Toxic Masculinity, and White Supremacy, man, that combo. History of Anti-Race and History of Anti-Asian Racism, right? Journal of Whatever, Speak Anti-Asian Racism and Xenophobia, Racial Ambiguity in American Culture, Food Plays a Crucial Role in How I Identify as a Chinese Jamaican. Probably this is the only book that I could be interested in, but I'm not because she wrote it. But in general, I would have said, oh, these are the interviews, sorry. Books, let's see. Global Anti-Asian Racism, Teaching Asian North American Literature, which will be, of course, Narrative, Race and Ethnicity in the United States. She's probably going to change everything. No, absolutely not. Look at the articles. Stories of individual harassment and violence perpetrated against Asian Americans by white assailants don't always get the same attention as the viral videos of black aggression towards Asians. To be honest, no, it's usually the other way around. But it doesn't, okay, Great, so they all should get the same level of attention is what I say. Yeah, more example here, blah, blah, blah. And identity. One is just called identity. Love to see it. What we see here instead, first of all, we see something that is very interesting and revealing. You may have not noticed. Look how at the very beginning, this person, Jennifer Ho, please don't go and harass nor attack. I don't condone that. If you do that, you do not deserve the light of heaven. This video is sufficient. She really wanted to underline how white people are the main perpetrators. I thought the pattern analysis was racist. Every time you say, wait, there is a certain statistic in this area, in this region, where, for instance, I don't know, immigrants from a certain ethnic group are reported to have committed more crimes. They tell us, don't do that, it's racist. And up to a certain extent, I actually agree with the idea of not vilifying people who belong to an entire group because of these statistics, given if the statistics are real, then the public should know because, yeah, pattern recognition is data information and data analysis. Although I would imagine it probably, rather than just only having to do with ethnicity, probably has to do with overall wealth distribution. I think there are several possibilities, but they always tell us, no, that's racist. But when it comes to white people, oh, the first thing she did was, well, white people are the main perpetrators. Double standards. Double standards. I say, reveal the correct data, and then always say, but let's not involve the innocent. The person is innocent just because they belong to the same ethnic group. It doesn't mean that automatically they are a criminal. That's how you do it. What they do here, if it's not a white person, don't even say it. But if it is white people, if this is true, because at this point, probably a liar, but if this is true, then why are you not saying that? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's so obvious. Anyways, let's go. Love to see it. So I'm going to have to say, once again, do not harass this person. I'm just sharing my opinions freely because we still have freedom of speech, luckily. But I do not condone any form of harassment towards this person, and everything I've just stated is based on what I believe to be true. It is nonsensical, Professor, to try and redirect racism born from people who are not white to white people. It's disingenuous, it's disgusting, and we call it out. If you want to present a front of unification, unity between people of all races, drop the anti-white sentiment, and let's all be equal in front of the law and under God. Thank you for watching.